Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day everything changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the conditions are perfect, right now. Because the moment you decide to shift the way you speak to yourself, you shift the course of your life. See, most people have no idea that their words are writing their future. They talk about their struggles, their fears, their failures, without realizing they are programming their minds to repeat the cycle. They say things like, I'm not good enough, I always mess up for me. And then, as if life is taking orders from their words, those very things come to pass. But what if for the next 24 hours you change the conversation? What if for just one day you spoke to yourself like the person you were created to be? Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and saying, I am powerful beyond measure. I am built for success. Opportunities chase me down because I am prepared to receive them. I create wealth, I create impact, I create change. What do you think would happen if you spoke like that for an entire day? Do you think you'd feel different, move different, make different choices? Of course you would. Because the moment you shift your words, you shift your thoughts. And when your thoughts change, your actions follow. And when your actions change, your results change. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you, no, I dare you to take control of your words. Speak life into your future. Speak power into your purpose. Speak prosperity into your finances. Speak healing into your body. Speak abundance into your destiny. And when those old negative thoughts creep in, because they will, shut them down immediately. Replace them with words of victory. Tell yourself, I am more than a conqueror. I am divinely equipped. I am unstoppable. You don't have to be a prisoner of the past. You don't have to be a victim of circumstances. You don't have to settle for a life that is anything less than extraordinary, but it all begins with your words. So, are you willing to take the challenge? Are you willing to speak to yourself with power, purpose, and conviction for just 24 hours? Because if you do, if you truly commit, one of two things will happen. Either your life will completely change in a day, or you will realize you have the power to change it every single day. The words you speak are more powerful than you realize. Every sentence you utter, whether spoken out loud or whispered in your mind, carries energy. That energy influences your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your actions. Most people assume that words are just words, harmless expressions of how they feel in the moment. But the truth is, words are the seeds of your future. They plant ideas in your mind. And over time, those ideas grow into beliefs. Your beliefs then shape your decisions, and your decisions determine the direction of your life. If you constantly speak negativity, doubt, and failure over yourself, you will unknowingly create a life that reflects those very things. But if you speak power, confidence, and abundance, your reality will begin to shift in alignment with those words. Many people sabotage their own success without even realizing it. They wake up and say things like, I'm so tired, I can't do this, or nothing ever goes my way. These statements may seem harmless, but they reinforce a mindset of struggle and limitation. The subconscious mind absorbs these words and works to make them true. It doesn't question whether the words are good or bad. It simply acts on what it is repeatedly told. If you keep saying you're tired, your body will feel more exhausted. If you constantly affirm that you can't do something, your mind won't even try to find solutions. And if you claim that nothing ever works out for you, you will subconsciously overlook the opportunities that could change your life. On the other hand, successful people understand that words create reality. They speak with intention. They choose words that build them up rather than tear them down. Instead of saying, I'm so tired, they say, I am energized and ready to conquer the day. Instead of, I can't do this, They say, I am capable and I will figure it out. They don't declare defeat, they declare victory. And because they speak in a way that aligns with success, their minds begin to operate at a higher level. Their actions follow their words and their results begin to shift in their favor. The law of attraction and the principles of success are rooted in this simple truth. Whatever you focus on expands. Your words are a direct reflection of your focus. If you constantly talk about lack, you will experience more of it. If you always speak about problems, they will seem to multiply. But if you train yourself to speak abundance, opportunities, and solutions, your mind will begin to seek those things out. You will start seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. You will feel empowered instead of defeated. And as you continue to speak in alignment with success, your external reality will start to match your internal dialogue. This is why affirmations are so powerful. When you repeatedly speak words of strength, prosperity, and confidence, you rewire your brain to believe them. At first, it may feel unnatural. You might even feel like you're lying to yourself. But the more you say it, the more you start to believe it. And when you believe it, you act accordingly. Speaking positively doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means shaping reality in your favor. It means refusing to be a victim of circumstances and instead becoming the architect of your own future. People often underestimate the impact of casual, everyday speech. They joke about being broke, they laugh about being unlucky, they complain about how hard life is, all without realizing that these words are keeping them stuck. Words spoken repeatedly become part of your identity. If you constantly say, I'm always late, don't be surprised when you can't break the habit of being late. If you keep declaring, I'm bad with money, you will never develop the discipline to manage your finances effectively. Your words create patterns, and those patterns determine your destiny. The good news is that you have the power to change your language at any moment. You don't need a miracle, you don't need permission from anyone else, and you don't have to wait for the perfect time. Right now, you can decide to shift the way you speak. Instead of complaining, start declaring. Instead of doubting, start affirming. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, start speaking about what's possible. Every time you choose words of power, you are taking a step toward a greater reality. You are reprogramming your mind for success, and over time, you will see the results manifest in your life. Everything you desire, success, wealth, happiness, confidence, begins with the words you speak. Speak as if you already have what you want. Speak as if the life of your dreams is already yours. Speak like someone who refuses to settle for anything less than greatness, and watch as the world around you begins to shift in ways you never thought possible. Most people don't even realize they are their own worst enemy. They blame circumstances, bad luck, or external factors for their struggles, but the real problem is often the way they talk to themselves. The conversations they have in their minds, the words they whisper under their breath, and the labels they place on themselves all contribute to their reality. Instead of building themselves up, they constantly tear themselves down. They call themselves failures, tell themselves they aren't good enough, and remind themselves of every mistake they've ever made. And because the subconscious mind listens to every word, it starts to accept these negative statements as absolute truth. Over time, these words become deeply embedded beliefs that dictate their actions, emotions, and overall quality of life. Negative self-talk is one of the most destructive habits a person can have, yet it is one of the most common. People speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. They say things like, I'm so stupid, I always mess things up, I'll never be successful, or I'm just not good at anything. These statements may seem small in the moment, but when repeated daily, they become part of a person's identity. A single mistake turns into a lifelong belief that they are a failure. A temporary struggle turns into a permanent mindset of defeat. They box themselves into a reality that doesn't reflect their true potential, all because they keep reinforcing it with their words. The mind is a powerful tool, but it cannot distinguish between what is real and what is repeated. If someone constantly tells themselves that they are not capable, their brain will find ways to prove it true. If they say they are bad at handling money, they will subconsciously make poor financial decisions that reinforce that belief. If they call themselves unlucky, they will start to ignore or downplay the good things that happen in their lives and focus only on what goes wrong. It's a dangerous cycle, and the worst part is that most people don't even realize they are caught in it. They don't see that their words are shaping their reality, leading them to the very outcomes they fear the most. Many people develop negative self-talk from childhood experiences, past failures, or harsh criticism from others. A teacher who once said they weren't smart enough, a parent who constantly pointed out their mistakes, or a painful rejection that made them feel unworthy. These moments leave scars. Over time, these external voices become internal voices, and without even realizing it, people start repeating the same limiting beliefs to themselves. They don't question where these thoughts came from or whether they are even true. They simply accept them and allow them to dictate their actions. But just because a thought has been in your mind for a long time doesn't mean it deserves to stay there. The problem with negative self-talk is that it doesn't just affect thoughts, it affects behavior. When someone believes they are not good enough, they don't try. When they believe they will fail, they don't take risks. When they believe they don't deserve success, they sabotage themselves before they can achieve it. It's not because they are actually incapable, it's because they have convinced themselves they are. Their words have set invisible barriers in their lives, preventing them from reaching their full potential. They start procrastinating, making excuses, or avoiding challenges altogether because deep down, they don't believe they are worthy of success. Fear also plays a huge role in this cycle. People use negative self-talk as a defense mechanism. If they convince themselves they can't do something, they don't have to face the fear of trying and failing. It feels safer to say, I'm not good at this, than to put in the effort and risk disappointment. But this false sense of safety comes at a massive cost. It keeps people trapped in mediocrity, stopping them from ever realizing what they are truly capable of. The saddest part is that they don't fail because they aren't talented or intelligent. They fail because they never allow themselves the chance to succeed. Breaking free from negative self-talk requires awareness. Most people are so used to speaking poorly about themselves that they don't even notice it anymore. It has become second nature, a habit as automatic as breathing. They have conditioned themselves to expect the worst, to see themselves as less than they truly are, and to accept struggle as their default state. But if they took a step back and listened to their own words, they would realize just how much they are harming themselves. They would see that they are not just thinking negative thoughts, they are creating a negative life. No matter how long someone has been stuck in the habit of negative self-talk, it is never too late to change. The brain is always listening, always adapting. Just as negative words can shape a life of struggle, positive words can create a life of success. The key is to become intentional with self-talk, to replace every limiting belief with an empowering one, and to start speaking as if success is already inevitable. What people tell themselves every day matters more than they realize, because in the end, they will always live up to the words they believe. The way you speak about yourself and your life determines the direction you take. Every word you say, whether spoken aloud or internally, sends a message to your mind, shaping the way you think and act. Most people don't realize that their daily conversations, even the ones they have with themselves, are reinforcing their current reality. They talk about what's wrong, what they don't have, and why things are so difficult. without understanding that these words are keeping them stuck. When you constantly talk about your struggles, your brain becomes wired to focus on them. When you repeatedly express frustration about your circumstances, you deepen your attachment to them. Words are not just expressions of what you feel. They are powerful tools that shape what you experience. People often assume that speaking negatively is just a way of venting, but in reality, it is a way of reinforcing unwanted realities. When someone says, "I'm always broke," they are not just describing their financial situation, they are cementing it. Their subconscious mind takes that statement as a fact and begins filtering reality to make sure it remains true. They will overlook opportunities to improve their financial situation, make poor decisions that keep them struggling, and continue to attract circumstances that reinforce their belief. The same applies to every area of life. If someone constantly says, "I can't lose weight," their brain will resist change and sabotage any progress they attempt. If someone claims, "I'm just not good at relationships," they will unknowingly act in ways that create conflict and push people away. The conversations you have with yourself and others are like seeds planted in your subconscious. If you plant words of doubt, fear, and limitation, your life will grow in alignment with those beliefs. If you constantly tell yourself that you are unlucky, unworthy, or incapable, your actions will reflect those beliefs and you will create a reality that proves them right. However, if you start speaking words of possibility, confidence, and abundance, you will begin to shift your mindset in a new direction. Your brain will start to look for opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems, and success instead of failure. This is not just about being positive. It's about reprogramming your mind to align with the life you actually want. Many people resist changing the way they speak because they feel like they are being dishonest with themselves. If they are struggling financially, they think saying, "I am financially abundant," is a lie. If they are unhappy, they think saying, "I am joyful and fulfilled," is unrealistic. But the truth is, your words should not reflect your current reality. They should reflect the reality you are creating. If you only speak about what is, you will never break free from it. Your words should serve as a blueprint for the life you are building. Just like an architect draws plans before a building exists, you must speak in a way that aligns with your vision before you see it manifest in your life. The conversations you engage in with others also play a major role in shaping your life. When people get together, they often bond over complaining. They talk about how hard life is, how unfair things are, and how nothing ever works out. This type of conversation may feel normal, but it keeps everyone involved trapped in a cycle of negativity. If you want to change your life, you must be willing to change the conversations you participate in. That means removing yourself from discussions that reinforce lack and struggle. It means surrounding yourself with people who speak about solutions, possibilities, and success. The more you expose yourself to empowering conversations, the more your mindset will shift in that direction. Your words are like commands to your brain, instructing it on what to focus on and what to ignore. If you constantly say, "There are no good opportunities for me," your brain will not even notice the doors that are open. If you keep saying, "I'm not smart enough to do this," your mind will stop looking for ways to learn and improve. But if you start saying, "Opportunities are everywhere and I am prepared to receive them," your brain will begin seeking out ways to make that statement true. If you declare, "I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to," you will approach challenges with curiosity instead of fear. The words you choose to speak determine what your mind prioritizes, which ultimately determines the actions you take. Small changes in your daily conversations can lead to massive changes in your life. Instead of saying, "I have to go to work," say, "I get to go to work and create value." Instead of saying, I'm bad at managing money, say, I am learning how to multiply my wealth. Instead of saying, I never get any good opportunities, say, I attract the best opportunities at the perfect time. These shifts may seem minor, but over time, they rewire your brain to operate at a higher level. The more you practice speaking in alignment with what you want, the more your actions will naturally follow. Your mind will begin working for you instead of against you, and your external reality will start to reflect the new narrative you are creating. Every word you speak is either pushing you toward the life you desire or keeping you stuck in the life you want to change. Most people stay trapped because they keep having the same conversations, repeating the same stories, and reinforcing the same limitations. If you want something different, it starts with small changes, choosing words of empowerment over words of defeat, speaking about opportunities instead of obstacles, and aligning your language with the future you want instead of the past you've experienced. When you change your conversation, everything around you begins to shift, and you will realize that you have had the power to transform your life all along. The mind is like a powerful computer, constantly processing information and executing commands based on the input it receives. Affirmations are the instructions you give to this mental operating system, shaping the way it thinks, reacts, and perceives the world. When you repeat affirmations, you are not simply saying words, you are actively reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with success. Your brain is designed to reinforce whatever it hears repeatedly, whether positive or negative. If you constantly tell yourself you are not good enough, your mind will find evidence to support that belief. But if you continuously affirm that you are powerful, capable, and destined for greatness, your mind will begin searching for ways to make that a reality. Many people underestimate the power of affirmations because they expect immediate results. They say positive things for a day or two, but when they don't see instant changes, they assume it doesn't work. What they fail to realize is that their current mindset has been built over years, sometimes decades, of negative conditioning. Just as it takes time to unlearn bad habits, it takes time to rewire the mind for success. Affirmations work by gradually replacing old limiting beliefs with new empowering ones. Every time you repeat a positive statement, you are strengthening a neural pathway in your brain. At first, these pathways may be weak, but with repetition, they become dominant, eventually shaping your entire thought process. One of the most important aspects of affirmations is emotion. Words alone are not enough. They must be felt deeply. If you say, I am confident and successful, but your voice lacks conviction, your subconscious mind will not fully accept it. However, when you speak with certainty and visualize yourself embodying that statement, the message is imprinted more deeply in your mind. Your brain responds to emotions, so the stronger you feel about your affirmations, the faster they take root. This is why affirmations should not just be mindless repetitions, but intentional, energized declarations of who you are becoming. Affirmations also work best when they are spoken in the present tense. Saying, I will be successful one day, keep success in the future always just out of reach. But when you say, I am successful, your mind begins to accept it as a present reality. Even if your external circumstances do not yet reflect the affirmation, your mind will start aligning your thoughts, actions, and decisions with success. Over time, this alignment manifests in real-world results. The mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It only follows the commands it is given. By consistently affirming success as if it is already yours, you accelerate the process of making it a reality. Affirmations are most effective when paired with visualization. When you affirm, I am wealthy, take a moment to picture yourself living in abundance. See yourself making confident financial decisions, enjoying financial freedom, and experiencing a life of ease and prosperity. When you affirm, I am healthy and strong, imagine yourself with vibrant energy, feeling unstoppable in your body. Visualization enhances the power of affirmations by creating a sensory experience that the mind can latch onto. The clearer the image, the more powerful the effect. When the mind repeatedly sees and hears the same message, it begins to accept it as truth and works to bring it to life. Most people struggle with affirmations because they have deeply ingrained negative beliefs that resist change. If someone has spent years believing they are unworthy of success, saying I am successful may initially feel like a lie. This discomfort is a sign that the old programming is being challenged. Instead of giving up, they must persist until the new belief becomes stronger than the old one. Affirmations should be treated like exercise for the mind. The more they are practiced, the stronger they become. Just as a weak muscle becomes stronger with consistent training, a weak belief becomes dominant through repeated affirmations. Another key to making affirmations effective is consistency. Saying positive statements once in a while is not enough to override years of negative self-talk. Affirmations must be a daily practice, spoken with intention and belief. The best time to affirm success is in the morning when the mind is fresh, and at night just before sleep when the subconscious is most receptive. Writing affirmations down also reinforces them, creating an even deeper imprint on the brain. Whether spoken aloud, written repeatedly, or visualized vividly, affirmations must become a regular part of daily life in order to produce lasting change. As affirmations begin to take effect, the way a person thinks, feels, and acts starts to shift. They begin making decisions that align with success instead of fear. They start seeing opportunities where they once saw obstacles. Their confidence grows, and they naturally attract better experiences into their lives. This is not magic. It is the natural result of changing the internal programming that dictates behavior and perception. Affirmations are not just words, they are declarations of identity. When spoken with belief and consistency, they shape the future one thought at a time. The words you speak set a chain reaction in motion. Every word carries energy, and that energy influences your thoughts. Your mind listens to everything you say, whether it's positive or negative, and begins to align your thinking accordingly. If you constantly say, I'm not good enough, your thoughts will start looking for proof of that statement. You will remember past failures, compare yourself to others, and reinforce the belief that you are lacking. On the other hand, if you declare, I am capable and powerful, your thoughts will begin searching for ways to validate that statement. You will start recalling moments when you succeeded, and your confidence will grow. Words are not just reflections of what you feel in the moment. They are commands that instruct your thoughts on what to focus on. Most people assume that thoughts come first and words follow, but in reality, it often works the other way around. When you repeatedly say something, your brain starts to believe it, even if it wasn't originally true. This is why advertising is so powerful. When you hear the same message over and over again, your mind begins to accept it as fact. The same principle applies to the words you speak about yourself. If you keep saying, I'm not good at speaking in public, your mind will build anxiety around the idea, making it harder for you to improve. If you keep saying, I never have enough money, your mind will focus on scarcity instead of opportunities to increase your wealth. Your words create a mental environment that shapes the way you see yourself and the world. Once your thoughts are influenced by your words, your emotions follow. If you speak in a way that creates stress and negativity, you will feel anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed. If you speak words of confidence and possibility, you will feel empowered, motivated, and excited about the future. Your emotional state is not just a reaction to circumstances, It is largely shaped by the internal dialogue you maintain. When you speak words of defeat, your mind releases stress hormones, making you feel discouraged. When you speak words of victory, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, making you feel confident and energized. This emotional shift impacts every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your ability to take risks and pursue your goals. As your emotions shift, your actions naturally follow. If your words create a mental state of doubt and fear, you will hesitate, procrastinate, or avoid challenges altogether. If your words cultivate a mindset of courage and determination, you will take bold steps toward your goals. Many people remain stuck in the same patterns year after year, not because they lack ability, but because their words have programmed them to think in ways that hold them back. They say things like, "I'm just not a disciplined person," and so they never develop discipline. They say, "I'm bad with money," and so they never take control of their finances. These words shape their thoughts, which in turn shape their habits and behaviors. This is why people who constantly speak negatively about their lives often find themselves trapped in cycles of struggle. They talk about how tired they are, how hard things are, and how unfair life is, and their minds reinforce those statements by focusing only on the difficulties. As a result, their actions reflect a defeated mindset. They lack motivation, avoid new opportunities, and settle for less than they deserve. Meanwhile, people who consistently speak words of strength, opportunity, and resilience experience a different reality. They face challenges like everyone else, but their words program their minds to focus on solutions instead of problems. Their actions reflect their belief in their own success, leading them to take steps that create real change. The words you speak don't just affect your own thoughts and actions, they also influence how others perceive you and respond to you. When you speak with confidence and clarity, people trust and respect you more. When you speak with hesitation and self-doubt, people sense your uncertainty and treat you accordingly. If you walk into a room saying, "I don't think I belong here," your body language and energy will reflect that belief, and people will treat you like an outsider. If you walk in saying, "I am meant to be here," your confidence will shift, and people will respond with more warmth and openness. Your words don't just shape your personal mindset. They create the reality you experience in the outside world. Every action you take is preceded by a thought, and every thought is influenced by the words you speak. If you speak as someone who is disciplined, you will begin to think and act like a disciplined person. If you speak as someone who is successful, your thoughts will align with success and your actions will follow. This is why some of the most successful people in the world are deliberate about the way they speak. They understand that words are not just sounds, they are the foundation of everything they think, feel, and do. They don't speak casually about their limitations, they speak intentionally about their strengths and possibilities. When you take control of your words, you take control of your life. You stop reinforcing negative cycles and start creating positive momentum. The thoughts you cultivate through your words will become the foundation of your beliefs, and those beliefs will drive the actions that shape your destiny. Words are not just expressions of how you feel in the moment. They are the tools that build your future. Speak in alignment with the life you want, and your thoughts and actions will follow, bringing that life into reality. Changing the way you speak to yourself is not something you do once and forget about. It is a continuous, intentional practice that becomes a lifestyle. Most people look for quick fixes, believing that if they say a few positive words for a day or two, their entire mindset will shift. But the truth is, the words and thoughts that shaped your current reality have been repeated for years, even decades. Rewiring your mind for success is not about speaking affirmations once and expecting miracles. It is about consistently choosing words that align with the life you want to create. Just as negative self-talk has built limiting beliefs over time, Positive self-talk must be reinforced daily until it becomes second nature. Every day, you are either reinforcing an old mindset that keeps you stuck or building a new one that moves you forward. If you are not intentional about the words you speak, your brain will default to its old programming. That is why this is not a one-time effort. It is a shift in the way you live. It means catching yourself when you start to complain, correcting yourself when you speak words of doubt, and replacing negativity with language that empowers you. It means refusing to let circumstances dictate the way you talk about your life, and instead using your words to create the reality you desire. This process requires commitment, because breaking free from old mental habits is like breaking free from any bad habit. It takes time, effort, and consistency. The reason so many people struggle with personal transformation is that they treat it like a temporary challenge instead of a permanent shift. They get motivated for a few days, practice positive self-talk, and feel good about their progress. But when things don't change instantly, they slip back into their old ways. They forget that the words they have been speaking for years have built deep grooves in their subconscious, and those grooves will not disappear overnight. Real transformation happens when you stay committed even when it feels like nothing is changing. It happens when you continue speaking in alignment with your vision, even when your reality has not yet caught up. Your words are powerful, but their power comes from repetition. Saying, "I am confident" once will not make you confident, just like going to the gym once will not make you strong. But saying it every day, multiple times a day, will begin to rewire your brain. Over time, you will start to notice small shifts. Perhaps you stand a little taller, speak with a little more certainty, or take action in situations where you used to hesitate. These small shifts compound over time, and before you know it, you have become the person you once only spoke about. The mistake most people make is quitting before the process has a chance to work. They don't see results fast enough, so they assume it isn't working. But just because you don't see immediate evidence does not mean change isn't happening beneath the surface. This new way of living requires a level of awareness that most people never develop. It means paying attention to the conversations you have with yourself and others, recognizing when negative words are creeping in, and consciously choosing a different narrative. It means refusing to engage in gossip, complaining, or self-deprecating humor, because you understand that every word you speak is shaping your mind. It also means surrounding yourself with people who reinforce this mindset, because the language of those around you influences your own. If you spend time with people who constantly complain, their words will become your words. But if you surround yourself with people who speak life, possibility, and abundance, that language will naturally become part of your own internal dialogue. Another reason this must become a way of life is that challenges will always arise. No matter how strong your mindset becomes, life will still test you. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and setbacks. The difference is that when you have built a foundation of empowering self-talk, you will respond to those challenges differently. Instead of saying, "Nothing ever works out for me," you will say, "This is just a temporary obstacle, and I will find a way through." Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," you will say, "I am growing and improving every day." This shift in language keeps you moving forward instead of getting stuck in discouragement. The most successful people in the world have mastered this practice, not because they never face difficulties, but because they have trained their minds to think and speak in a way that keeps them strong. They do not allow their words to betray their vision. They understand that the way they speak about themselves and their circumstances determines their outcomes. This is not something they do when they feel like it. It is a habit they have built over time. It is their default way of thinking and speaking, and because of that, success follows them naturally. When you decide to make this a permanent shift rather than a temporary exercise, you will begin to see transformation in every area of your life. You will notice that your confidence increases, your decisions become bolder, and your actions align with the vision you have for yourself. You will attract better opportunities, build stronger relationships, and develop a mindset that allows you to navigate any challenge with strength and clarity. This is not about speaking a few positive words when you need a boost. It is about adopting a new way of thinking, speaking, and living that positions you for success every single day. Everything you need to change your life is already within you. You don't have to wait for permission, for circumstances to be perfect, or for someone else to come and make things happen for you. The power to create the life you want is in your hands, and it begins the moment you decide to take control of your thoughts, words, and actions. Too many people waste years believing that success, happiness, or fulfillment is something that will happen someday when they have more money, more confidence, or more resources. But the truth is, nothing changes until you decide that it changes. The moment you declare, "This is my time, and I refuse to stay where I am," is the moment you set your transformation in motion. The biggest lie that keeps people stuck is the belief that they are powerless. They tell themselves that their past defines them, that their circumstances control them, that they are limited by things outside of their influence. But history has proven over and over again that people who take ownership of their lives can overcome any obstacle. There are countless stories of individuals who started with nothing, faced incredible hardships, and still created extraordinary success because they decided that nothing would stop them. They refused to speak as victims of their circumstances and instead declared themselves as creators of their future. They understood that the power to change is not given, it is taken by those who believe in their ability to shape their destiny. The first step to creating the life you want is shifting the way you think about yourself. Your beliefs determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you believe you are capable, you will take bold steps toward your goals. If you believe you are limited, you will hesitate, procrastinate, and allow opportunities to pass you by. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you constantly feed it doubt, fear, and excuses, that is what will take root. But if you plant confidence, determination, and a clear vision of success, those beliefs will grow and guide every decision you make. The key is to be intentional about what you allow into your mind and refuse to entertain thoughts that do not serve your highest potential. Words are the bridge between thought and action. Once you shift your mindset, you must begin speaking in a way that reinforces your new beliefs. The words you use on a daily basis are either programming your mind for success or keeping you locked in limitation. If you constantly say, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "I'm not ready," your brain will accept those statements as truth and act accordingly. But when you declare, "I am capable, I am resourceful, and I always find a way," you activate the part of your brain that looks for solutions, possibilities, and new opportunities. Your words set the direction for your life, so choose them wisely. Once your thoughts and words are aligned, the final step is to take action immediately. Too many people wait for the perfect time, but that time never comes. The only way to build momentum is to start where you are with what you have and take the first step. It does not have to be a giant leap. Small, consistent actions are far more powerful than waiting for the right moment to make a big move. Success is not built overnight, but every action you take today moves you closer to the life you want to create. If you commit to daily progress, no matter how small, you will look back in a year and realize how much you have transformed. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who move. They don't let fear stop them. They don't let doubt keep them from trying. They understand that growth comes from stepping into discomfort, pushing past limitations, and proving to themselves that they are stronger than their excuses. The only difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is the decision to act. Those who take action, even when they don't feel ready, eventually become the ones who inspire others with their success. Those who wait for the right time end up watching from the sidelines, wondering why nothing ever changed for them. Your circumstances do not define you, your choices do. No matter where you are right now, you have the power to rewrite your story. You are not a product of your past, you are a creator of your future. But the life you want will not appear by accident. It must be built with intention. You must speak it into existence, think in alignment with it, and take the steps necessary to make it real. If you truly desire transformation, you must stop speaking doubt, stop waiting for permission, and start claiming your success as if it is already yours. Because the moment you believe it, speak it and act on it, the world begins to shift in your favor. There is no better time than now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things feel easier. Now. Every moment you delay is a moment you could be using to build the life you want. Every excuse you entertain keeps you from stepping into your power. You already have everything you need to begin, and the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the decision to step forward. The choice is yours, and the time is now.